Hello, everybody. I hope you are having a fabulous day. Thank you so much for joining me on this live stream for Altenew's YouTube and Facebook channels. It's so great to see you here today. And I see Tracy and Sissy Sue. And I hope you guys are having a fabulous, fabulous Monday. So today I wanted to talk about watercoloring because I know watercoloring is one of those topics that people are either like, oh, I love it, but I don't know what to do about it. It's a little it's especially for us. I'm definitely one of them who like needs to control things, and I need things to be where they are. This is always a tough thing because you kind of have to really go with the flow and like let the paint and let everything do it for you. So I'd love to know in the chat, do you like watercolor? Are you like really good at watercoloring? I was hoping Liz O would be popping up right now because she's fabulous. And I'm so excited for you guys to be here today. See, Tracy Shiomara is here, and Audrey's here. Hi, Audrey. I hope you are doing well. And I'd love to know who's behind the badge. Please introduce yourself and give us a little bit of love to the person behind the badge who's going to be putting in a lot of products in just a moment. So what I wanted to talk about today was watercoloring. And I came across this really great product called Paint and Stamp. And there's two of these out right now. There's Paint and Stamp flowers, but also Paint and Stamp butterflies. And so I'm going to be playing around with the Paint and Stamp butterflies today. But first, I'm going to talk about all the fabulous watercoloring products that Altenew has, because they really do make this simple, especially for somebody like me. I love it. I like the look of it. I'm not great. I work I try my best, and I think it looks good, but we'll definitely do. Oh, good, Michelle. You're kind of like where I am. I love watercoloring and I like the look, but I'm still kind of playing around with a little bit. So I think this set would be really cool for you. And this was Han. Yes, Han. The dream team is back together, Han. All right. So fabulous you are here. So let's give Han a little bit of love. And if you share this live while we're live, you'll be entered to win a gift card to Altenew, and you could pick up this stamp and paint butterfly set. It's really, really great. Audrey, you are fabulous at it. I know. All right. So we are going to go ahead and come on down. And I see Sue is here. Sue, I hope that you're surviving the heat. And I definitely am up here. All right. Let me go ahead and pop down. And we're going to look at a lot of products first. You ready, Han? All right. So these are the cards that I have for us today. And I'm going to play around a little bit, and we're going to play around with this, but it's all butterflies. So Tracy, lots of butterflies today for this one. And I am going to talk first about products. So I'm not going to use these products. I'll show you the ones I'll be using. I just wanted to talk about the fact that watercolor is, even though it seems really scary, it's really something that you can do, but it is something that just takes practice. And so you have to really kind of get over that little hump, get over that little step where you're like, oh no, I can't do this. And so I wanted to point out some of the things that I've done to kind of get over that hump and just practice and play. And one of the things that's really easy, so Altenew has a lot of different watercolor media or mediums. And one of them are the pencils. This is a really great thing, especially if you're somebody like me who needs to have control. the pencils are super, super fabulous. So that one. And Kathy's here. Hi, Kathy. Oh no, Kathy, don't say summer break is over. That's not okay. And oh my gosh, Tracy, you released 2 more butterflies. If you guys don't know, Tracy raises monarch butterflies and she releases them. And Shiomara, I know your watercolor is gorgeous. I've seen your work. So this is really fabulous because of the fact that you can keep control of it, because you can color and then you can just smooth the lines out with some water. So this is probably a really fabulous one to start out with, are the watercolor pencils. And then there's also what I'm going to be using today, which are the watercolor brush markers. And these are super fabulous to use. I love that, Tracy, the illusion of control. These are really great too, because these are so vibrant and pigmented. And that's what we're going to be using for our butterflies today. And then Altenew, and don't forget that Altenew has that sister site, Artistry by Altenew, and it's so fabulous. Oh, you're going to love them, Michelle. The Altenew watercolor pencils, you're going to love them. Hi, Deb. Putting a card together in your lapboard in your recliner. Well, we're also going to be talking about watercoloring on the go, Deb, so you can do that. Thank you so much for sharing this, Sue. We will be Han is going to be, oh, sorry guys, Han is going to be picking a winner for our gift card. So hang on and please share this live while we are live so that you can be entered to win that. So I just have a couple of colors here, but these are fabulous. These are tubes. And tubes are great. I know they can be a little bit scary because you're like, oh my gosh, this seems like a professional thing. But tubes are just, they're very highly pigmented. And I can put this on my palette and I can just leave them there. And then I can just kind of like, when I need them, I can just reactivate them with water and they're good to go. So that's when tubes are really nice. I typically do my coloring on the go, so I don't hang out with my tubes too much, but it's nice having these. So there's a ton of different colors, and these are all on the Artistry by Altenew website. So these are all fabulous to have. For those of you who, I love the metallic watercolor set. The colors, I'll just point to the colors here in the back. The colors are like absolutely wonderful. Absolutely love them. This is a great set. This is a pan set. And then probably my big go-to is this pan set, which is the Artist Watercolors. I love using these ones as well. So if I'm home and I'm kind of hanging out, I'll probably grab the Artist Watercolor set. And then there's the gouache. So gouache is a little bit thicker. I did a class with gouache as well. And these also come in tubes. And these are super fun. Oh, that's a great idea, Deb, your ceramic dishes. Yeah. And that's the nice thing about having it where you can put those tubes in, and I just leave them on my palette. And Altenew has a large palette and a medium palette. And I love the medium palette, which is this one. So it's a nice size. So here is just a reference for a card size. So it's a nice piece. I kind of use I have quite a few of these, and it's nice to have these as well. So it's great. That's that one. And then I love their brushes. So Altenew has this set of, these are the fine watercolor brushes, and these range in size from 3 all the way up to 6. And the difference in them, they're all round brushes, but you can see some of them are tiny and some of them are a little bit bigger. Oh, that's a great idea, Audrey. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing this out. And then this is probably my favorite set. And I just love it because it's got the case. I don't know if they still sell this with the case. This is a little bit of an oldie but a goodie. And you can tell I'm missing a brush because it's somewhere on my desk that the goblins grabbed. Somewhere around here. It will pop up soon. And this is great because it's got this gorgeous flat brush. And I use this all the time for washes. In fact, I'm going to be using this today. And it also has these round brushes that go from 1 to 4. So I love that as well. It goes 2, 3, 4, and 6. That's the one I'm missing right now, 6. And then there's also paper. So the Altenew Artistry by Altenew has a cold press paper and a hot press. And the difference here is really about the texture of the paper. And we're going to be using the cold press paper today. And I love the fact that it comes in these loose sheet sets. And you can get a 10-pack, or I just grabbed the 30-pack. And you can actually grab this if you ever happen to see it on sale, and you can create your own notebook, which I would really encourage you to do. So I'm going to share with you my watercolor journey. Did you get that set, Deb? I love it with the case because I like that case. It makes me feel kind of fancy with that one. So, and thanks, Katie. These colors are all fabulous. And like I said, I'm just talking watercolor stuff today. So I have a little notebook. This is just watercolor paper. I just got this from a big box store. And it just gives me an idea of playing around with my watercolor stuff and ideas of brush strokes and how to use this. And these are just strokes that I made with these exact brushes. And so that's kind of the nice thing about having something like this, is that you can play and it's okay. It's okay. No one's going to see this. This is a mess. There's a whole point of this is that I'm going to use this. It's just for me. It's kind of like my watercolor diary. That's the way I think about it, is it's my watercolor diary. So it's for me. And so I can take this out if I have some time, play around with brush strokes, play around with colors, and just kind of see how everything moves. So that would be my encouragement to you, is just to get out your supplies. Altenew has a ton of them. Just grab a couple and just start playing. And that's where it's all about. So these ones, I believe, are synthetic. I believe these are synthetic. They're not natural, Katie. And you know, I haven't tried natural, so that would be interesting to know. Hey, Karen. And oh my gosh, B&D Crafts and More, thank you so much. And thank you so much for sharing this, Jennifer, as well. And again, if you share this live while we're live, we have Han behind the badge today. So hello, Han. I hope that you are doing well. And she is going to be pulling a winner at the end of this. All right. So we're going to be talking about, oh, there's one more thing. One more thing. Altenew watercoloring book. And this is fabulous because if you're a watercolorist on the go, or if you just like sitting in your easy chair, you can just, you know, grab your stuff, grab this, and just have a little bit of a paint sesh. So that's all you got to do. And Katie, you can share this just by taking the link and sharing it out on your social media or texting it out to friends. So it's really great. And Deb, this is great because it has both. So these are the gorgeous, gorgeous designs of Altenew. And it's already on this really great textured watercolor paper. And it has a no line option. So where that line's going to disappear. And then it has the exact same design. I think I already colored this one. Yeah. It has the exact same design in a lined option. And that's kind of neat because then you can practice it. And that's what's so fabulous about something like this. It's already done. You can have it, and you can use any of the media that we just talked about for that. Hey, Nancy, I hope that you are doing well. Hey, Brian. Nice to see you, B&D Crafts, Brian. And thank you so much for sharing this, Joanne. You too can be like Joanne and be entered to win a gift card if you let us know, if you share this out and let us know where you shared it. All right, so I'm going to start. Let's take a look at what I'm actually going to be doing today. And this set is called Paint and Stamp Butterflies. So Han, just to let you know, the flurry of things is done. So now it's going to be a little bit. And Deb, it is. It's really nice. It's convenient when you can't think of anything to draw. And it's fun just to kind of let and see how things go. And again, for somebody like me who needs control over everything, watercoloring is one of those options where I'm like, you know what, Amy, you just got to kind of let it go. So that's what it is. Just let it go. Oh, that's great, Katie. Thank you. And Kathy is absolutely right. Practice is what's important. And something like this, the Stamp and Paint Butterflies, especially if you're not so super sure of how to do this gives you that opportunity to practice. So it does come with a die set. And I think this is kind of cool because the 3 sentiments you can cut out. And then you also can cut out these little butterfly bodies. And so if you want to have the butterfly bodies popped up a little bit, or you want to put them on a special paper like gold or whatever the heck it happens to be, you can cut out the little butterfly bodies and then add them onto your card, whatever you're doing. But the cool thing about the Paint and Stamp Butterflies is you have these outline images of butterflies that you can use as is and just color them in, which is fabulous. What we're going to be doing is we are going to be doing a kind of no line coloring. And so I'm going to stamp these in a light gray. And so that all those lines will disappear, but they'll still be there a little bit. And where I'm going to start is you can see that I have this background. And this background, I just did a little bit of a pink wash. And so that's where we're actually going to start today. So I'm going to grab a piece of 5x7 cold pressed watercolor paper. And this is neat. I love the fact that it's got this little Ziploc bag to it. So I can know that my paper is not falling out and going all over the place. And then I love the fact that you get a nice large space. And I like this too, because I know I'm going to cut this down, but that way I have like a little bit of side extra where I can actually do a little bit of practicing that I need to do. All right. So I wanted to make this frame, and in my journey of still using Altenew things that I have purchased from a long time ago but have never used, this is one of them. And this is the Mix and Match Frames die set. And this is a really cool little set because it comes with 1, 2, 3, and technically this is 4 in the front. And that is kind of the neat part of this. I'm going to grab this frame. And what this frame does is it will cut out both the inside and the outside, and it gives you this little deckled edge. Oh, sorry, just the outside of this, and it gives you this little deckled edge paper. It's really neat. This also will do this part, and I apologize, I don't have my other pieces, but these can become sentiment strips, which is pretty neat. And I'm sorry I didn't grab those, but they can become sentiment strips there too. So this is the Mix and Match Frames die set. All right, so I'm going to grab my die cutter. It's right next to me, just making some room for the machine. And I'm going to come in. So let me know about your watercoloring. Is it like, do you love watercoloring? Are you still at a practice? You like me and you're kind of practicing it? Or is it your go-to thing? Or is it like, is it something you want to get better at? Tell me about you and watercoloring. So tell me about that one. Oh, yeah. Oh, Deb, I think she meant that she broke it out. Not that she actually broke the die, but broke it out and used it. Tracy, I love that you used it. That's great. Maybe were you like me and you hadn't you bought it and hadn't used it? Now is the time. So I'm with you, Deb. I do aspire, but it is a practice thing. It is a practice. Now the watercolor paper comes with two sides. One is a little bit more textured. I want the textured side. And so I'm going to have that up. And then here's my little decal edge die. And I'm just going to pop this sucker through and die cut it. And I like this because it's going to give a delicate edge to what I'm doing. And that's what I wanted. And I could cut this out afterwards, but I'm just for ease of getting this all done, I'm just doing it first. All right, so here is and this is show you what this looks like. And again, this is a cool set because it comes with a lot of different pieces. All right. Oh, Audrey, nervously practicing watercolor. Yeah. It is one of those things. You just kind of have to dive in and do it and just kind of see where it gets you. All right. We're really going to have, I didn't do a fabulous job on that. Was me. This was operator error. This is not the die or the machine. That was Amy. That was an operator error. Oh, that's beautiful, Michelle. Adding it to your mixed media album. And good, Tracy. I'm glad you're with me, trying to use up all the things. Okay. The other thing that I would suggest for watercoloring, and I apologize that Altenew doesn't sell this one anymore, but the one they have is just really gorgeous. But even though it's not that much money, I'm just one of those. I already bought it. It's good. It's fine. Yes, it's stained, but it still works perfectly. And that is the silicone matte. The one that they have now is beautiful and white and doesn't have this grid line, but it's silicone. Like nothing can kill it. So until I kill it, it's got to stay there. Get too detailed and make it dark. I'm with you, Deb, on that one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and water lightens up boo-boos. I agree with you on that one. All right, so I'm going to grab, so there's 4 sets, and Han already added in the Autumn Festival set. And I'm going to be pulling markers from all 4 sets. So they're going to be all over the place. And I love that about these is you could really just kind of use all the colors within the set and they go so well together. I love that Altenew does that. But I'm going to kind of mix and match all of them. And so there are 4 sets, one for each season, which is kind of cool. So we have, I call this the summer, but it's the Tropical Fiesta set. And then there's the Winter Wonderland set, the Autumn Festival set, and then the Spring Garden set. And probably the 2 that I go to the most are the Winter Wonderland and the Spring Garden set. But it's also the first 2 that I had. So I think it's the 2 that I really feel most comfortable with. Hey, Deb. And Lynn, you definitely need to try the watercolor brush markers. This is that thing. I love how there's the wish list on altenew.com and on the web, on the app. Put these in. Wait, you get them now or wait for there's a sale. It doesn't matter. These are great, especially if you like to watercolor on the go. These are really great to do. They're heavily pigmented, but you can easily get, add that kind of soften those lines out with water. All right, so I'm going to grab Rouge, and I'll tell you where Rouge is coming from. And Rouge is coming out of the Winter Wonderland set. So Rouge is in Winter Wonderland, okay? And all I'm going to do is just do a little quick wash. And so this is where I love this set of, oh, you can't even see them. This is so black on black, Amy, of course. I love this set that they have because it comes with this flat brush. And this says it's a size 18, but it's such a nice flat brush. And I like how wide it is. Oh my gosh, aren't they, Katie? They're great. Is your home floating over there? No. Are you doing okay, Tracy? I hope you're doing okay. Oh, I found my brush. It's a number 1. I like to repurpose jars and things like that. So this is actually a candle holder. And so I just took the wax out or got the wax out and repurposed it. And now it's like my go-to water container. You can see it's blue because I was waiting for the live to happen, I was kind of like messing around with my watercolor. All right, so I'm just going to add water. So this is a wet on wet technique. And yeah, my water's a little blue, but we're fine with that. And I'm just going to add some water to this paper. And I'm just going to come in. I'm not adding too much. I'm just kind of getting it wettish. All right, there we go. And then I'm just going to take my rouge and I'm just going to add some color to the top. And rouge is this really pretty pink. There's another pink called Cotton Candy. I love Cotton Candy too. And Cotton Candy is really light. It's got a little bit more orange in it. I'll just put that in there so you can see it. But I like the rouge with it's a little bit pinker. Cotton Candy is in the Autumn Festival set. All right, I'm just going to take my water and now I'm just going to grab this color and I'm just going to start moving it down. So it's going to stay more pigmented up at the top. And as I grab that color and move it down, I am going to create a gradient. And that's what I was looking for. I want it to be a lot lighter. So it's still pink at the bottom, but it's there. Oh my gosh. Hawaiian set. Oh, Sue, I think you're thinking of you can watercolor with those, but those are the fine, those are the pens. Those are, you also can watercolor with those, but these are the watercolor. So what comes out of here is literally watercolor, which is great. And I'll show you how to use them. You could, if you wanted to, Sue, use that set similarly, kind of, but you definitely would have to use a water brush with it. Okay, so I got my nice water. Clean my brush. And I usually have next to me a cloth. I'm just going to kind of take the water out of this brush and put it back. So that's that. So I have this. I'm just going to let this sit over to the side right now. And I'm going to move over to the next part of this. So, all right. So that's my background for my card. And now what I'm going to do is I'm putting this together with a stencil. So bonus points if anybody can name the stencil that's in the back here. Bonus points. Anybody got it? I'm going to give you about 10 seconds. What do you think? What's the stencil behind here? I may have used it in my last live. But I thought it would be cool because you don't really think about that one. Yes, Kathy, Deb, that is the cloud scene stencil. Good job, everybody. Nice job. And Sue got it too. And Tracy, yes, cloud scene stencil. And so, oh, that's okay, Brian. I'm glad you're here. So glad you're here. So the cloud scene stencil, super great. And I was like, I was messing around and I'm like, I wanted something that was really, that was kind of soft, but also very like graphic, like geometric. And I'm like, what the heck? I was looking through my stencils and I looked at I have a pile of stuff that I pull out and then I have to put away, but I haven't put it away yet. And so I'm like, let me try this cloud scene stencil. I played with it. And I'm like, oh my God, I love it. I love this look. It's geometric enough. It gives it a nice soft look. So we're going to do that on the back of our card. All right. So I'm going to grab a piece of cardstock and I'm going to cut this down because let's face it, I love an outline. So I'm going to cut this down to 4 by 5 1/4. And I could do this after I stencil, but I'll just do it now. Either way, it's good. Aren't they pretty, Deb? It's really neat. Oh, Barb, I hope that you're doing well. We are talking, thank you, by the way, Barb, for that segue. We are talking about watercoloring today, and we have Han behind the badge. So glad that Han is here. And we are talking watercolor and how you're watercoloring, if you love it, if you're like, it's your go-to, if you're not so sure about it, what are the things you like to do? So let me know in the comments, guys, where are you with watercolor? And that's what we're doing. And we're talking about, especially for like people who aren't sure about watercolor, if you're new to it, I went through some of the products that Altenew has that are really great, especially if you're nervous. And so we're using this one called Paint and Stamp Butterflies. And I really love this cloud scene stencil. So I don't have to go all the way with this. And I'm not necessarily making clouds. I know this is the cloud scene stencil. But what I'm really doing with this is I'm trying to come up with a way to give this a little bit of a geometric look, something that's a little unexpected. And Katie, yes, you do need this stencil. This stencil, in my opinion, out of all of the cloud scene kind of things to do out there, this one I feel like it really does give the best look of clouds. I love to mix and match it with a couple of different colors. So you see I have sea glass, I have mountain mist, which gives you a little green, and I also have dewdrops. And sometimes I'll throw in like turquoise or a little bit of a darker blue, and I'm just kind of keeping it a little bit light here. So you can see I'm flipping it. So obviously we don't have clouds going this way, although Tracy might down in Florida. Who knows what the heck is going on with weather down there. But I'm just kind of flipping it around. Again, I don't care about the middle because this page is going to be on top of this. So I'm just getting those edges around with this. But I thought this would give it a nice look. All right. And yes, Deb, you definitely need this stencil. This one is a fabulous one. I pull it out a lot. So a lot of times it's in my, needs to be put back box. I don't know if anybody else has a bin like that, but when that's what I do. And then when the box gets filled, then I just take it and I go through and I'm like, oh, you know what? Now it's time. I'll just put everything away. And then I kind of go in there sometimes to grab some other stuff. So sometimes it gives me a little inspiration too. Oh my gosh, watercoloring with alcohol ink. So cool, Tracy. Love it. All right, so now I'm back here. So you can see I'm turning my paper around. Again, I don't want a cloud scene. I just want some different looks for this. And you can see I'm even using the same mini blending brush. And thank you, Han, for putting that link in. So we have that link in there. All right, so that's in there. All right, and I got this little corner down here. All right, I'm going too fast. Let's see. Okay, but you can see you get this gorgeous kind of look, this really aerial looking. Does it ever get put away? Yes, it does eventually. Eventually I do it sometimes. Yes, it's so cute. Watercolor with water-based ink. Yes, you definitely, Brian, that's great. When we're going to show you the next thing. All right, so that was my stencil. It's given my little paper over here a little bit of time to dry. And I'm just going to hit this with my heat tool and really to make sure that that sucker is dried and we're ready to do our next thing. So let's talk ink. When you are using watercolors with stamps and you want that to show up, my recommendation would be to use Obsidian or the permanent black ink. And both of these are really great. So these are non-water based. They will not dissolve in water and they're going to stand out. So we're actually going to use the Obsidian with sentiment and we'll use the Obsidian with the butterfly bodies. Permanent black is good. The Obsidian is just so crisp and it also won't be impacted with water. I do, however, want to do a little bit of no line watercoloring with the butterfly wings. And so I'm going to grab a very light gray. You could do a very light yellow. I chose gray because I knew I wanted to keep it with purple and blue, and I thought this would be a good undertone with it. And so I chose the limestone ink, and that way I can see it. I can see what the heck I'm doing. But because this is water-based, this is going to disappear. And so I won't see it once I've already put it in. And if you're looking at that like, Amy, I can see some lines on those butterflies. And that would be correct. You can. And I went in after I was done and added them with a black fine liner pen. This is a fabulous set to have, especially if you're watercoloring, because you can add details afterwards, the fine liner pen set. Another thing to throw in that cart. Really, really fabulous. All right, so my sheet is ready dry. I'm going to move this guy to the side, and I am going to pull this guy out. And I'm just going to hit it really quickly with my heat tool, and then I'm going to grab my stamp wheel because I want to do some stamping, and I want to keep the stamps in the same place. And so I'm going to use my stamp wheel because I can just keep them on my stamp wheel and not really worry about it. And this because I'm going to go back and hit and get that sentiment in, because I want to use the butterfly bodies and also the sentiment I want to do in obsidian and some clear embossing powder. But I'm going to do that when I'm done. All right, so now we got our paper semi-dried. I'm going to hit it with. You don't need help filling your cart. Well, oh my gosh, Deb, isn't no-line watercoloring so forgiving? I agree. It's really pretty. And in fact, my butterflies, I'm going to point out, I love to do a swallowtail butterfly. And that is, oh yeah, that's right. The stamp wheels are on sale. A good call on that one, Tracy. I think they're like 15% off or something. So get them now. Fabulous, fabulous tool. I pull it out every single, like if you think about your products on a per use basis, the stamp wheel at this point in time probably cost me a penny, honestly, because it's that thing that I'm pulling out constantly. I'm constantly pulling it out. All right. The other thing to think of with your stamp wheel are the alignment guides, and that's what I'm going to be using right now, because I want to make sure this gets lined up because I need to restamp it. I'm going to restamp this when I'm done. So I'm going to put my alignment guide in here, pull my little doodads out from a prior project that I was doing. And here's my paper. All right, so here's my little guy. And I'm going to put him right in here, and he's just going to stick, hopefully stick down. This also, you have to realize, is wettish watercolor paper. So, all right. And Deb, the fine line set, I'll put it out here so you guys can look at it while I'm doing this other part. But the fine line set is really great, especially for adding details. And like one of the Debs had said earlier, that you always want to add those details when you're done. And that's really what watercolor is. And that's what I like about this paint and stamp set is you can add those details in it later if you want to. All right. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to keep it with sending you a flutter of joy. I really think this is really cute. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my butterflies. And these butterflies, they range from pretty small to kind of big. So I'm going to grab a medium butterfly and I'm going to grab a big butterfly, and they go in both directions. So you have some butterflies that are flying to the right and some or to the left, and some butterflies that are flying to the right. And I kind of like that too, that you have both of those ways. Okay. All right, so let me put these guys down. I'm just going to kind of create my scene. And let me move this over just a little bit. And I'm just trying to group them up. Oops. Okay. I think I got it. Now what's awesome is I'm going to take a moment now and I am going to grab them with the stamp wheel. Now they're locked in. So now we're locked in. So now I can restamp this after I'm done with everything. And I think that that's kind of the cool thing about this. That's great, Deb. Your granddaughter has to be doing exactly. That's so great. That's so great. And Shiomara, I like it too because it's kind of a cool thing that you have that. You have this powerful tool of these watercolors right at your fingertips, and you can use them to make all these parts of your card. I think that's cool. All right, so like I said, I'm just using the limestone ink. If this doesn't show up for you guys, I'll restamp this in a darker ink just so you can see it. But I just wanted to get this. Now, again, we don't care about the sentiment because I'm going to restamp the sentiment and the butterfly bodies in obsidian. Oh, no, you guys can see that. All right, that looks okay. All right, we'll keep it. We're going to grab this. I'm going to pull this back. And I know you guys are looking at that like, okay, that looks great. Nice job stamping. But we're not stamping. We're going to be watercoloring. So in the Paint and Stamp Butterflies set, there is actually some directions about how to get like specific look if you just want to use like the little bodies, and you can kind of follow along with their designs. I'm going to use these outlines and then go along with that. All right, so I'm going to grab my little mat back. And I was playing around, and this is why I like to have like a little bit of like an extra piece. And I was playing around with some colors that I was using, and I found that I really liked Dusk and Sea Breeze and Midnight Violet. And I grabbed purple. No, it was Ultraviolet. Ultraviolet, where are you? There you go. This Autumn Festival set, it has some really bold colors in them that are really cool. Ultraviolet. Okay. So the Midnight Violet, Sea Breeze, and Dusk, these all come from the Spring Garden set. Like I said, I pull this one a lot, and the reason why I honestly pull it is because, oh no, you lost me. Audrey, am I back yet? Is that what's nice about this with the Spring set is that, like I said, this is the one that I had first. So this is the one I'm most familiar with, but it has some really, really beautiful colors in there. And so I think about it for like flowers and things like that. Oh, good. Watching and cooking. I need to know what you're making, Shiomara. A smaller version of the stamp wheel. I don't know, Sue. I know there's going to be a larger one that the side will be out. So that way you can put papers in over on the side. So that way you're not stuck to the pieces that are there. So, all right. Okay, and just double checking we're all set. We're good. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start with a brush. I'm going to grab a number 4. I think I want a number 4. If you use a smaller brush, you're going to be able to get a little bit more control, but there's also less water that they're going to be get them. Katie, that sky stencil, that one that does this, it's called the Cloud Scene stencil. And it is fabulous. You need to get that. All right. You need to get that. Hey, Anne from Norway. I hope you are doing well. All right. So I'm going to start just by adding, I'm going to do a little bit of wet on wet. So I'm just going to add a little clean water here. And you can see I'm just putting it to the top of my butterfly wing. And you can see my color there is already starting to kind of fold in a little bit. So then I'm going to grab my watercolor brush marker, and this is in Dusk. And I'm just going to come in and just add that little bit of line. Now, wherever I put this line down, it's always going to be darkest at this spot. All right. Even though I'm going to take this and I'm going to make it a little bit less, and I'm going to kind of use some water to move the things around, it's always going to be darkest at this spot. So where you want the edge, that line of edge to be, that's where you're going to put this. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of clear water. Again, I'm just going to add a little bit of clear water to the upper part of this, and also to where the bottom part, the bottom lobe of that butterfly is. And I'm just going to add some more dusk at these points. So I'm just going to put that dusk in, and I'm going to put that dusk in here. Okay. All right, now that I have that dusk in, I'm going to add in a second color. I'm going to add in Sea Breeze. And Sea Breeze is pretty bright. So if you can see that Sea Breeze versus the dusk, and I'll just kind of put these colors out to the side so you can see them. And Tracy, our resident butterfly expert, can tell us You know, butterflies come in a lot of different colors. We always think about, you know, butterflies having these beautiful, beautiful kind of bright wing colors, but they really come in a lot of them, a lot of different colors. And of course, when they're adults, when they come out, they don't live very long. So they got to show off what they can show off, attract that mate, get some babies so they can be ready for the next generation. All right. And that sea breeze, that had a lot of color to it. I got like a little dab there. So again, I'm just filling this in. And if you're at a point where you're like, too much water, too much anything, you can just come in with a cloth and just put that out. So my sea breeze is a little crazy pants. Now, I love a swallowtail. I love a swallowtail, so that's what I use. Oh, pork chop stew with white rice. That sounds good. They see in colors we don't. I wonder what the heck they I got to look that up. What butterflies see, because they don't live for very long. All right, and then now I'm going to do this top. So I'm just going to add some water in. And I can extend this butterfly wing out past where my stamp is. That's totally fine. I can give it a little bit of a flurried edge. I want it to come out this way. Kind of put this in, but it makes you kind of feel like you're watercoloring, which you are. You got watercolors and you're painting. So you can see what I did from that original one. I extended it down. I have a little bit of a swallowtail. I'm going to go ahead and just make this one just a little bit bigger. Just going to put that paint down. And we're going to extend that down. And I can add in a little bit of dust. I'm going to let this kind of evaporate a little bit. And I'm going to just see how this all comes out. And now I'm going to start on my other guy. All right, so same thing again. I'm just kind of getting my clean brush, getting some clean water. And I'm going to come around and just add in a little bit of water. This just gets everything starting to flow. Because these are already watercolor brush markers, they already are going to flow, and I don't have to do that much. So this is ultraviolet. And I'm just going to come in and just add a little bit of that line right here. And right at the top here, and where that bottom part is. So I'm just going to add a little bit of color. And again, we're watercoloring today, and we're using the Stamp and Paint butterfly set, which I think is really pretty. So I'm going to add some Midnight Violet. And again, let me do the color. So that was ultraviolet. So you can see how dark, like it's a purpley blue. And Midnight Violet has a little bit more pink in it. So I thought those two looked kind of cool together. So I'm just going to add just a little bit of this. And then I'm just going to use water to blend these two in. And that's a little dry up there. So we'll just add a little bit of water to blend. This is really, really pretty. Red, yellow, and green. Well, that makes sense that they would see red, yellow, and green butterflies. Because they got to land on those flowers, right? So you can see, because I put that ultraviolet in, I'm getting that nice sharp edge. And then the Midnight Violet is coming down over it. And I'm just dragging this down and filling this in. I'm going to add in a little bit more color just to get it a little bit deeper. But my goal right now is just to get that first wash on these. And I got to tell you, that sea breeze is bright as crazy. All right, got too much ultraviolet there. All right, and again, same thing. I'm just getting that color and just mixing it in. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the Midnight Violet just to get that start to move. They can see under a black light. That's what bees are like that too. All right, just adding a little bit more. I just want a little bit more color because that first butterfly is so intense, and this guy's a little bit muted. There we go. How am I doing on time? Oh, good. Okay, I think I might be able to finish it. What's nice about a set like this too, and watercoloring as well, is it does go pretty quick. Like once you kind of get moving with everything, that once the paint moves, you're all set up and you did all the prep work, it kind of moves pretty quickly. All right, I'm going to grab a little bit of this ultraviolet, and I just want to add in a little bit more. Just coming down this way, and then I'm going to give it a little swallowtail, butterfly. Just a little bit of midnight violet in there. Sorry, ultraviolet, and just a little bit more here. And that's what I do. I feel like it's kind of this back and forth. Like you like it, no. And yes, you're right. It's so nice, Deb, because you have these fine tips on these watercolor brush markers, and you can get such a nice sharp line. And so now you can keep that line. Oops. Whereas I did not with that. All right, that's all right. I'll move over. And now I'm just again going to add a little bit of water just to kind of smooth this over. And I also want to get rid of my original line. So you can see I'm trying to use and get rid of that as well. And this poor little butterfly, it looks like his wing is a little messed up. So we're going to give him a little bit of a bigger wing. There we go. Now, what's cool about this is if I wanted to, I can restamp those original lines in a sharper, darker black. Or if I want to keep it with this loose, I can do that as well and keep what I have. All right, he's looking pretty good. All right, I'm just going to smooth out the little rest of his body and give him a little bit more of a swallowtail. All right, and there's one more thing I want to do to my first butterfly. He's a little too bright blue for me, so I'm going to add a little bit of dusk over here on top of that sea breeze. And that's the cool thing about the fact that watercolors are translucent is they are, you can kind of put them on top of each other and they'll mix right on your paper. So I'm just adding a little bit more of that and just taking off some of that color because it's a little bit too much for me with the look I'm going for. Going to add a little bit more to his little tail. All right, I think he's looking pretty good. All right, what do we think about our butterflies? Yes, so yes, Sue. So I can add more water to it, and it just means that your paper might get a little warpy. And so that's what you're kind of wondering, because paper can only, even watercolor paper can handle a lot, but eventually it's going to get a little warpy. And so I'm going to hit this with a heat gun. You can see that I'm really, really warped, but I can flatten that out and then I can use a really, really good adhesive. Sometimes I'll even step away and I'll like stick this in the middle of books and then they will flatten out eventually. That's what I do. But yeah, Tracy, aren't these colors so pretty? Thank you guys. Thank you, Han. Oh, that's great, Deb. For the monarchs to come in. They are not up. I think they already came by me. So they must be heading back down south, I guess. I know there's cameras that can kind of like trace them, where the heck they go, the monarchs, but it's fun to watch them move. All right, so I'm just kind of drying this out. I'm trying to get it as flat as I can because I have to put it back onto my stamp wheel. All right, so you can see like when I hit that, and I do love the pink, like the really soft pink behind it with that purple. I think that looks really great. All right, so I'm gonna kind of clean up my little area right here and put these away. And you can see how fast this kind of a thing comes together. Usually when I'm stamping and die cutting and kind of doing a bunch of stuff, it takes forever. But watercoloring, like if a nice little simple scene like this, it's not so bad. All right, so let me grab my stamp wheel back and I'm just going to clean it up really quickly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put the bodies on. If you want to, you can use clear embossing powder. I'm going to try that right now on this. Okay, so let me get my little paper back in here. And I'm just going to do a little testing to make sure that everybody's okay because now my paper is a little bit warped. And I might need a little bit of tape just to make sure that it stays down. But it actually, I got to tell you, this stamp wheel is amazing because this is relatively warped and that sucker is staying nice and flat. So yes, Audrey, absolutely. I can use that when it's dry, dampen the back and put something heavy on and it will flatten. Thank you, Katie. That's a great tip. Great tip. All right, so I'm going to take this and I just want to double check that we're lined up. We're looking good. That looks pretty good. All right, so I'm going to take my obsidian and I'm going to go ahead and stamp this in. And Audrey's right. I could go in and just use the fine liner set and draw these little guys a little bit black. Now I'm going to do my butterflies and I'm going to do my best. I'm actually going to take off where their little wings are because I don't want to get the wings. Like I don't want the lines for the wings. I want to keep them nice and loose. And that's definitely a look, you know, if you want to put them in, that's fine. If you don't, then that's fine too. And that's the nice thing about this little stamp and paint set is you can do this. Now I could have grabbed some tape as well and just taped off my wings. I didn't do that. So I just come in with a cloth and wipe off any excess ink. And if I get it there, that's fine. Not a problem. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and come in and we're going to stamp this and everything's going to be great. In NorCal with a, oh my gosh, that's awesome, Kathy. In Northern California, huh? I don't think I've ever seen them hatch because they only, the milkweed where they are, it's only in a couple of places or it's not necessarily around me. I always wanted to put it in to grow it, but I haven't been able to find the seeds for it. Okay. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right, and I'm going to just kind of darken up these bodies just a little bit. And what's neat about this set is you also can do just the bodies. And I'm going to show you that if we have a little bit of time. Yes, we do. I'm going to show you how to do that with just the bodies. All right, I'm going to use a pen on the rest of this guy. And we'll put that there. So cute. These little guys. I'm going to grab my pen and just color in my little guys here. Let's see. Where's my pen? Pen. But absolutely love this also comes with this little fine liner brush. And again, I think my paper is still a little bit wet. But once I put these little bodies in, you can kind of see now these butterflies are really starting to take off. All right, I'd love to know if you're going to try this. Is this helping you to kind of pick up your brush and get started? Is inspiring you to do some watercoloring? I'm going to make his head a little bit bigger. He's got a tiny head for a butterfly. There we go. So now they're coming in. How many million would you like? All right, so there's our little card. So cute. And I can just take my fine liner pen, and I think these are dry enough. And I'm just going to add just a little bit of some strokes. And I could come in if I wanted to and do, designs on, I feel like this would be a really awesome kind of a Zentangle kind of a thing, because that would be really, really cool. And to do some little Zentangling on there. But you can just add a little bit. And that just kind of gives some definition to them. Very, very subtle with it. Very, very subtle. Oh, that's a great idea, Deb. Flattening warp paper by running it through your cutting plates and running it through the die cutting machine. Yeah, that would be true. So it's cute. So this can go right on here. And then you can see where that cloud scene stencil just really, really sets it up. Oh, that would be gorgeous. Class on butterflies with metallic on black cardstock. Yeah, this would be beautiful with this paint and stamp with metallic. I got to try that. All right, so that's our first one. So I got about 4 minutes. So if you guys, if you were okay, I kind of messed around with a piece. So I had an extra piece. And if you saw me when I cut out the original decal, That's one from the Mix and Match frame set. I have this little extra piece. I'm just going to grab this and I'm going to show you a little scene. And we can do a little scene with this and our watercolor brush markers. So I'm going to start out by taking one of the bodies from the stamp set. And with the stamp set, and I can pick any one I want. I think I'm going to pick one that's going to that is facing the other direction. So it's one of these two. Here, we'll grab this little guy. And I'm just going to grab the body. So I'm not grabbing the, I'm not doing the wings because I can do the wings on my own. And I'm going to grab the obsidian and I'm just going to do a little body. Okay. I'm also going to grab my sentiment because I've got to figure out where the heck I want everything. And I'll just put my sentiment like right over here. So I want my little butterfly right about here. So that's where I'll put my little butterfly. Okay, so there's my little butterfly body, and I'll grab this and we'll do a little sentiment in here too. Okay. All right, how are we doing, Han? I hope you guys are enjoying this. And again, I hope this definitely like takes that fear of watercoloring kind of away from you. So definitely grab this, embrace change, embrace it, and see, just go ahead and try it. The worst thing that can happen, you toss the paper and recycle it. That's about the worst, right? Okay, so I'm going to grab, this is, because this is obsidian, it's not going to, it's not going to move anything. I should kind of probably make sure it's dry. I also can take some clear embossing powder, but I'll just, see, it's fine. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water here, and I'm not going up. I'm just kind of adding some water where I want grass. So I'm just kind of putting some grass in. And I can grab some greens. So like I'm going to start with this just green. And I'm just making little brush strokes. And you can see that I'm trying to get it to be where it's irregular, but that's really what I'm trying to do. Oh, good, Brian. I hope that you do. And of course, if you do anything, please, with Altenew products, please share your what you've made on social media. We love to see that, don't we, Han? It definitely inspires us to keep creating. Please share it with the hashtag Altenew, and that way we can see what you're doing. And that is really my favorite part. I love that. All right, there's also this moss, which is gorgeous. And I'm just going to add in a little bit of moss here. And this is just to give it a little bit of some different colors. Just because, grass isn't always one color, right? It's a little bit different. So I'm just adding a little bit. And I can take my brush and I'm just going to smooth this out with a little bit of water so it's not so sticky. So I'm just doing a couple of things here. Oh, I just realized I should have been using my silicone mat, but that's fine. Now I can add some flowers, and all I have to do with the flowers, and this is the really cool thing, I'm going to grab a nice dark green. I'm going to grab this emerald, and I'm just going to make some flower stalks just coming up. And I then am going to grab my Sunkissed, and I'm going to just make a little flower center here. And this is the cool thing about the watercolor brush markers. And I'm not there's no stamping. I haven't stamped here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just moving around. And this is that same Midnight Violet. And I'm just going to grab this and just make some petals. And my petals, just doing little C's, little O's. Again, it's watercolor. It doesn't have to be perfect. You also, if you had this on a palette, we could make it a little bit softer. And after I put my petals in, I can use that Sunkissed and come back and just make that middle a little bit more colorful. I can have one that maybe isn't opened yet, so I can put some petals going down. So there's another one, use some red, etc. And for my butterfly, I'm just going to start off kind of thinking about where I want these colors to be or where these are going to go. If you're nervous, you can also trace everything out with a pencil. But I want this to go here, and then I want it to go here. So I'm just kind of tracing this with water. So I can grab that same dusk and just follow along that line. And then use this to smooth everything out. And again, if you get messed up, you can just take it and add in those little details. Add in those other little details. So his wings are big. Whoop. That's right. We got to make this wing big. Here we go. A little bit more dusk on him. So with your watercolor, you can do so much. And that's really the cool thing about this. So the sky's the limit. You make mistakes, you turn it into an opportunity, you do something else with it. But I encourage you to try. So with all of your things. So I hope you do, Deb. I hope you do. All right, so those are our cards for today. So using that Stampin' Paint butterfly, such a cool little set. And these are watercolor brush markers. I hope that you end up grabbing these. These are fabulous. Get all 4 sets. You need them all. And they are just a lot of fun to just play around with, especially if you're on the go and all those things. A huge shout out to Han today. She was absolutely fabulous behind the badge. And thank you so much. And thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate your time and taking a moment to share with Altenew that to allow Altenew to craft your life. So thank you so much. I hope that you try these watercolor products, and we'd love to see what you do. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.